Very good morning to you all. I hope you could hear me clearly. Right. Uh, First of all, let me welcome you once again to this beautiful university. We're going to spend another 4 years' time. Uh, so that you have been going through this student integration program, and you may be receiving lots of input during this integration program for you, how you should adapt to this condition and how you should plan out your the 4 year university career in times to come. So that in this particular the session, I have titled this as preparing for a planned journey, and I have purposely put this thing because now you all have come to a very important chapter, important juncture in your life. Now, after completing your school education, now you have stepped into the university education, undergraduate education, and of course, this is going to be the turning point of your life. Why I am saying so is that this future, right? This 4 year time is very important because it's going to determine your future, whom you wanted to be, right? So that if it is that critical, if it is that important, so that we should have a plan for our journey. That's why I titled this session as a preparing for a planned journey. And there you cannot go through this 4 period without a plan, because it's a very important chapter in your life. It is going to determine your future, so that it's very vital, it's very important to plan you this journey, and it should be a planned journey, right? Right. And now at the outset, I would say that you are a very privileged group of students, right? You are a very privileged group of students. So that why I'm saying this. So just look at these statistics of Sri Lankan education, right? Every year, there are about 2.8 million students enrolled into the primary education. This is the primary education enrollment of the Sri Lanka. But to the grade one, there are about 2.8 million students get enrolled. Out of which, right, there are only around 1.5 to 2 million students proceeded to the secondary education. What is the secondary education? That is from grade 6 to grade 10, right? Not all 2.8%, 2.8 million, 1.2 million students enroll into the secondary education, grade 6 to grade 10. And then to the higher education, there are only about 300,000 to 400,000 students only get into the higher education. Right? These, if we take as a percentage of the total school enrollment, it is only 10 to 14%. Out of the student, for instance, if we take the 100 student get enrolled into the primary education, only 10 will go to the higher education. Right? What is this higher education? That is what I referred is the advanced level the education. Only 300 to 400,000, 400,000, otherwise 10 to 14%. Right. And out of which, of that 300 to 400,000 student, or 3 to 4 lakhs, out of which only about 40,000 students get qualified or get enrollment at the national universities. Right? That it's going to be 1/10 of the student who got into the higher education. So that there you could see that this filtering process, right? And if we compare this thing with the total primary school enrollment, 3 million out of 3 million, approximately only 400,000 will get into the school, the university, the education. And even of that 40,000, as Wellassa University, we are recruiting or we are enrolling only roughly 1,500 or 1,300 to 1,600 annually. That is going to be only 3% out of the total university enrollment. There you could see that how special you are, right? Going through this competitive process, you have been able to get into this university system and particularly to the Wellassa University. That's why I said that you are a very privileged group of students. So that it's a very vital thing, very important thing for us to keep in mind that we must appreciate ourselves, right? We must be proud of ourselves, right? Then only we can be proud of someone else, right? We can we can plan out our future, right? We can be a good person. First of all, we should appreciate ourselves, right? Now you are a very privileged group of people in society. We say you are cream of the cream, right? Going through a very comprehensive screening process, going through a very difficult examination process, you have been selected for this particular the universities. So that's why I say that you are a very privileged group of the people. Now we are in a juncture. Now you plan to go through your undergraduate education in next coming the 4 years. So that as you work hard through your school education, right? Here it's very important to determine, or it's important to think that the next 4 years going to be very, very critical, so that I take this thing very seriously and I plan these 4 years very competently. That thing is a very the vital the thing. And another very important thing I want to highlight here is that now we are in a sort of a transition. Right? You are in a transition. Your university life, your the home life to university life. Right? Until your during your school education, basically the majority of you lived in your the home, right, with your parents, right, with your the sisters, with your brothers, and with your relatives, right? That is the home environment. You were in that secure home, very convenient and familiar the environment. Now the new environment going to be totally a different environment. That's why I said that in university life there are going to be the many transitions, transformations, so that it's a very the vital thing for you to understand this thing and to adapt to this transition in a very productive way, right? And if we take, as I mentioned you, right, until now, right, you are at home. So that home, what is a home? It's a very stable and very predictable environment. In home, we know that what will happen and everything is we know. And we do have established routine. We get up in the morning, then take our bed tea, and then doing our the other works, and we do have our breakfast, then the lunch, and we do have schooling and all this. We do have very established the routine, and then they are going to have a regular the family interaction with our the parents, with our the brothers and sisters and the others, and a familiar living space, so that the space is a very convenient and familiar way, so that they are you are going to be very convenient and you are going to be very comfortable in that home environment. But when it comes to university, it's completely the different. Right? It's completely different. And some of the very important things I just want to highlight here is that in university life offers a independence to you. Right? You do not need to depend on someone else, right? And you get sort of a the the freedom in the university, and they are the and then it's not really a familiar environment, right? It's a diverse social environment. There are different people, right? Different people from different walks of life, and even the different social status, and the different ethnic groups, different religions. Lots of there are going to be lots of differences. The diverse in the society, not like in the home. And along with greater freedom and flexibility in managing time, right? There you do have a greater flex. Of course, there are lectures, scheduled lectures, but still you have sort of the freedom and flexibility more than your home at university. And they are very important. In there, you can make decision what to eat, right? And what to do and what not to do. There are no someone behind you, just like in the case of the home, to guide you, to instruct you, right? No mother, no father, or no brothers and sisters. So that now you have to take your decision, so that you get that liberty, you get that freedom of making decisions and setting your personal goal. Now it is not just like in the home environment. Now you are in the process of developing your the personality. So university environment is a very different environment from the home environment. For some of these students, this may be sort of a uh, uh, difficulty to get into the system, right? It's one extreme, not all, only few, right? Some people find it difficult to have this transition. And on the other extreme, some people take this thing very carelessly, and they take this, for instance, the independence and the freedom very carelessly, irresponsibly, and then they will find difficulties at the end of the day. So that we should not get into any of these extremes. We are not really uncomfortable. We do have our confidence, so that we believe that we can adapt to this system, as well as we are not going to exploit this freedom, and we are not going to make use of this freedom and do whatever I wanted to do, and eventually you will not reach to your desired destination after 4 years time. So that it's very important to understand this the transition. And another aspect I just want to mention you in this transition, and up to now you have been considered as children. But up to now, you have been considered as children until you selected to the university. Usually, we consider you all as children. So, children who are children, children are generally considered as dependent, and the underage and are under the legal the guardianship or the parentships, or the caregiver. Somebody is take caring of us. Maybe parents, maybe our guardians, maybe some caregivers, and they look after us. Right? They look after everything of us. Right? That is the children. Now, it's very important for you to keep in mind, you are no longer the children. So you are no more children. Now you are adult. There again, it's very important to understand this transition. Adults are typically considered to have reached maturity, right? When we say that, child, we expect that they have come to a certain level of the maturity and are capable of making independent decisions. It's a very vital thing, very important thing. Adult should have sort of a maturity, and then again should be able to make the wise decisions, the correct decisions, informed decisions, and they do have the independence of taking decisions. So that this transformation is again, it's very important for us to understand. Here onward, we can't just act as the child or the children. Right now, we are adult. We are empowered to take our decision. We do have a responsibility towards the parents, towards the university, towards the country. So that it's a very important thing you have to understand. And next thing is, in this particular in your home environment, for instance, particularly in your school education, uh, this school education is a very structured education system. There's a set curriculum, and they are basically focusing on giving you the broad general education. Right? That is the main objective of the school education. And even teachers are behind you, to providing detailed guidelines and the close supervisions. Right? That is the nature of the school education system here in Sri Lanka. Right? But when it comes to university education, there are lots of changes. Right? It is not a school, and in a school, the teachers are teaching, And here, it's not teaching, lecturing. There's a difference between teaching and the lecturing. Right? So that this transformation, it's again very vital thing for you to understand this transition in the education, school education to the university education. In a university education, is comparatively less structured, not just that in the case of school education, less structured, and with student having freedom to choose specialization, courses, the design, and the academic path. You do have preferences. Of course, there are the compulsory courses as well as there are some elective courses. You can select these elective courses, and even specializations. There you can have your own the decision what area I am going to specialize. Right? So that you do have a sort of a freedom of selection when it comes to university education. University education giving you the foundation for your career, and it is the foundation, and on top of this foundation you have to build up your the career. And while being expected to take responsibilities, and a very important thing, they are, for instance, in the case of school, the teacher, school teacher, the class teacher uh, will be behind you, and she or will give feedback, individual feedbacks to you. They do have the access. Small number of students, for instance, maximum 40 students. In the case of university education, there will not be a person behind you, right? They will guide you, but it is your responsibility to go through the learning process. Right? It's your responsibility to go through this learning process. For instance, suppose that if I take an example, suppose that in your school education, if you are not performing well, then class teacher will call you and they will convene the parents, and they will she or her he will discuss this thing. This student is not performing well, you have to do something, right? But here we cannot expect that sort of the environment here. Now you are adult, and there are lots of opportunities have been given. Now it is your responsibility to take these opportunities, take this thing, and to manage your learning. It's very important. It is your responsibility to learn the things. It's your responsibility to go through this learning process, and no one behind you to push you. But I must tell you that definitely there's a good guidance for you, right? There's a good guidance for you. There are going to be mentors, right? There are going to be counselors. There are lots of facilitation is there. But all we together, what we try to do, follow these things and be responsible for the learning. You are the sole, the person who's going to be responsible for learning hereafter. Right? So that this transition is very important for you to understand this transition. And if you not really adapted to the transition, right, then you will find difficulties, and it's going to be very uncomfortable to you. It is going to be very inconvenient to you, so that it will impact on the learning, the process. Right? So that reflect on this thing and understand this thing, then it's not going to be a difficult thing. And of course, learning should be uh, a very enjoyable thing. That we not only the learning, anything. If you like, you can do it. If you do not like, you can't do it. That is very basic, the principle to anything in your life, right? If you like and if you have passion for learning, if you develop that passion for learning, definitely there is no something called difficult subjects. There is no something called difficult examination. If you like it, if you don't like it, then everything is difficult, right? Every subject is difficult. So this mindset is very important. So that actually this is a mindset change from this school education to the university education. There you have to understand this thing, you have to adapt to this thing, and then of course there won't be any problem. And university life, as for many our students, going to be a very enjoyable experience. And of course, it's the most, even for us right now today, right? Our university life is the passionate, most enjoyable, most excited the time period of our the life, right? It's not develop the career, but it's a very enjoyable and memorable life period of our life. Still, we can recall these things and we can extract some satisfaction out of this thing. I am pretty sure that there are not going to be any difference for you. Of course, this is going to be a very enjoyable journey to you as well. Right. And then, and as I repeatedly explained to you, this university life going to be very critical period of your life. Why is that? Why it is so critical? And these, as I mentioned, these the transition to the adulthood. No, you are no longer adult. You are no longer children. Sorry, you are adults. So that in this university, the life, that transition happens. You have to get ready and you have to go through this process, right? So it's one very important thing in university life. And then the personal growth, very important thing. Unlike in the case of the school education, right? They are basically measure your cognitive skills or your and the memory. Right? They will be teach and you will learn this thing. There will be examination and you will study and write the examination and you will get some pass. But here that thing happened, but still what is the outcome you are expecting is your personal growth as a person, right? As a person, you have to develop over these 4 years of the time. The personal growth is a very important, not only accumulating the knowledge. When we say the personal growth, it is not only accumulating knowledge, acquiring skills, shaping your attitudes, changing your mindsets, right? And even develop your personality, right? Your presentation and your ability to work with others. There are lots of things when we say the personal growth. So that there we expect you to have that thing, to have this personal growth in this time period. Another very critical thing, I would say the most important thing, the university life. For instance, in a, school education, right? School education, of course, but those days usually the people used to ask from what is the ambition, right? Whom you wanted to be. Right? It's a very conventional the question, and they are even at the kindergarten, even at the grade one, we tell these things. I wanted to be a doctor, I wanted to be an engineer, I wanted to be accountant, and so forth. Right? And of course, those are ambitions. Right? Those are ambition. No, in other words, I would say those are dreams. But in university life, now it's about the career. Now we cannot have dreams. Now we cannot have the ambition. Now what we should have is the target, right? And now we do not have time to have the dreams and ambitions. Now we should have targets in our life, right? Whom I wanted to be. Now I should have a target. Now you have, in a way, you have selected your career path, right? According to your degree program, according to your faculty, according to your degree program. Now, in a way, you have identified your career path. Now it is time for you to develop your career in the path. So it's very vital. And these this the period going to develop that foundation for your career, whom you are going to be in your future. So that this is a very important the period of your the life. And you have to be very serious on this thing. And then life skill development, that as I mentioned, university education is not all about the knowledge. The life skill development is very important thing. And for instance, what are these life skills? For instance, the communication skills, your interpersonal relationship, how you are going to work with the people, your leadership skills, and then the problem solving skills, right? Do something in a different way, the creative way. These are very important life skill, right? These are very important life skill you have to develop over this period of the time, because now there's a big claim in the society, right? Employers, right? There's a big claim from the employer. They say every time they claim that our students, not only the UW student, in general, the graduates, they do have only the knowledge, but they do not have the skills. They do not have the right attitudes. But they are keep on claiming this thing. So that now, if it is so, it's our responsibility to make ourselves corrected. Right? For that, it's very vital to get that the life skill. Right? So that this university education is a career development process, as well as it's a life skill development process. And then social and networking opportunity. This is a very important thing uh, in the university education. There you will be get an opportunity to interact with different the people, right? Different people, and you will get an opportunity to network with these people, right? It's a university, just like a universe, right? And people from all corners of the country is here, right? Different speaking different languages, and the different religions, different social classes, and the other divisions. Somehow you get a wonderful opportunity to get interact with these people and to make the network. Actually, networking is one of the very important critical thing for your success, right? And in times to come, you will learn different subjects. For instance, if we take the entrepreneurship, right, there is one very important thing is the networking, right? Networking, simply speaking, right? Networking is a very vital. For instance, suppose now actually we are very privileged that if you go out to get something done, definitely one or two of our past out students are there, right? So that they help us, they talk to us, right? That is because of the network. So the networking is very important. The opportunity you get in this your university life. And next thing is the exploration and identity formation. This is extremely important thing. Exploration and identity formation. What does it mean? Right? Every individual should have an identity. That every student or every human being should have an identity. For instance, suppose that if myself, right, what is my identity? I am academician, right, a lecturer. So that as a lecturer, I need to develop my identity. I have to develop my personality. I have to develop that related skills, and I have to have an identity, right? So that if I go and talks out there, then others should be able to recognize me, not as my name, as he's a lecturer. That is his identity. Right? So this identity formation is a very critical thing in university education. But there is a exploration. What do you mean exploration? Right? Still, you do not know whom you wanted to be. So this 4 years time period is for you to do a sort of a self-exploration and identify yourself. Right? You have to understand, you have to identify yourself. What skills I do well, in what area I am good at, right? In what area I am bad at. What are my likes and dislikes? That is exploring yourself. By exploring yourself and matching with these things, then you have to develop your identity. Right? You have to develop your identity, and you have to form your identity. This is a very important thing that should happen during this 4 years time. Right? And of course, unfortunately, even we uh, see that if you do not have this sort of a thing, right? If you do not go through this process, and at the end of the the day. So after 4 years' time, you will walk out from the university just holding the certificate, just like your advanced level, the certificate, right? Only the knowledge, nothing else, right? Don't happen to that, right? And you have to
Excuse me,
walk
sir.
out of this
Sir,
university.
presentation post ಇಲ್ಲ. Excuse me, sir.
Hello,
Sir, ಮಾಹಿತಿನೇ presentation post ಇಲ್ಲ.
right? Why? Is it right now? Hello?
Now it's okay, sir.
Now it's okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. Right. Then exploration of identity is a very the vital thing. And then the next thing is the emotional and psychological challenge. It's a very vital thing. And they are explaining you that these there are going to be a lot of transition from your home to university, right? This is going to be very challenging. It's so natural, right? So natural. There are going to be some emotional challenges as well as some psychological challenges, right? You now, as I mentioned, you home is a very convenient and comfortable place to you, but university there you cannot have that convenient, right? For any human being, the most convenient place is the living place. Basically the home. There is no place other than our home, right? So that thing is there. So there are going to be a lot of emotional and psychological challenges. For instance, we have observed that some people, we say that some people do have this what we call homesick. Okay? Some of you, sometime you haven't been in outside, right? You have never been in outside, but after coming to the university, you have to be here, right? And you have to be in the hostel or some other the places, right? So that there are no the other people to take care of you. You have to take care of your work, and as well as you have to manage your studies and other works. It's going to be very challenging. Right? Some people find it difficulties in adopting these things so that they will get some uh, issues, emotional and psychological issues. So that even for those things, there's a good the support from the universities. We do have, as I mentioned, we do have the mentors, we do have the counselors, and even your colleagues. And even your colleagues, they will help you out. So that with all these things, you have to be a very strong person. Right? You have to be a very strong person, outsmarting all these the challenges. Right? So that these things are very vital and very important for you to reflect on this thing. And university education is such so that now it's sort of a challenging thing. But life is every time taking challenges one after one, and one after one. That is the nature of the life. So that this again going to be a challenging time period. So you should get ready to outsmart challenges and to go to your the destination. Right. And then what are your goals? Right? What are your goals as a human being? Right? We do have number of goals in our life. Right? For any human being, right? There are number of goals in our the life. Right? If we take, for instance, the undergraduate, right? What are your the goals? Right? If we just go through this the goals, there may be, for instance, academic achievement. That is the main goal of your life. For instance, you got selected to this particular university and you are following 4 year degree program, and your goal is to successfully complete this 4 year degree program with the class, right? At the very first day, from the very first lecture, you have to be determined, right? To complete the degree with the class, right? Because now there is a huge competition outside there. As you know, then there are lots of private universities, and now there are plenty of the graduates, right, in the job market competing to get the job and for the other things. So that now it's a very vital. Now the degree is becoming a very basic qualification. The first degree is becoming a basic qualification so that if you have to get a competitive advantage, right? If you want to stand out from the rest, it's very vital to complete your degree with a good grade, second class upper or a first class. You have to target on this thing, and you have to plan on this thing, and it's not difficult. So that the one goal is the academic achievement. Another goal, as a human being, you may be having your personal development goals, right? We do have our personal development, the goal as the person, how I am going to project myself in the society, right? For instance, I wanted to be a good public speaker, good communicator, good educator, right? Good caretaker, right? And in that way, we do have some personal development. For instance, I just want to be a good manager, right? And I just want to be a good, for instance, good businessman, right? These are different personal goals. So that it's again very important to reflect on this thing. What are the personal the goals, right? Then a career goal, that is about a job, and that is about the job or your the occupation, right? That is what going to give living to you to rest of life. Right? That is again, you must have the career goal right now. You have to develop a career ladder, and you have to have the career goals. And then financial goals. It's a very important thing. In a society, here we are living today, the finance is a very vital, very important thing, right? So that person may be having some, definitely have to have some financial the goal. I have to earn this much, right? I have to invest this much, and I want to buy this and that, right? Based on this thing, so that there should be some financial the goals. And then relationship and social goal. It's we are human being, so that is by default we cannot live alone, right? We live as a group, right? So that relationship matters a lot. So that people do have a relationship goals and social goals, right? And to be a good the friend, right? And to be a good the children, to be a good daughter, to be a good son, right? There we do have this relationship goal, to have a good the friends, right? And to have a good relationship with them. And as a sorry, sir, maybe the social the goal. For instance, what I can do to the society, right? How can I serve the society? Likewise, we do have the relationship, and we must have the relationship and the social the goals. Right? Then another, that is the family, right? Particularly in this Asian culture, we are very family oriented, right? Not unlike in the Western culture. It's usually in Western culture, after being adult, usually children go away and they start their living on their own. They get separated from the parents. But we do not have that culture, right? The family matters us a lot. So as a family member, we may be having some goals in our family, right? The parents have been nurturing me, putting a lot of efforts, and I should take care of you. And even our brothers and sisters living with us, so that I should take care of them. And there may be other extended family members, right? And they have helped us, they loved us a lot, so that we do have a commitment, we have a dedication, we have a responsibility towards them. There again, we do have these family goals. And then lifestyle goal. This again a new very important thing. What sort of a lifestyle I expected to have, right? What sort of lifestyle I expected, that again you have to think of this thing, and you have to have the goal of this thing, right? Different people may be having different lifestyle. Maybe be urban lifestyle, maybe be a rural lifestyle, sometime in between, or sometime very very the adventurous lifestyle, or some may thinking of going abroad and settling to a completely different lifestyle. Likewise, there you can have different lifestyles. So that for that thing again, it's very important for you to have the goal, lifestyle goal, we say. And then by doing all this, right, to doing all these things to be a happy person, right? This spiritual and physiological, uh, these are the psychological, physiological goals or the philosophical goals, sorry, philosophical goals are very important, right? That may be according to our religion, what we are following. So it's again very important thing, and we cannot be an empty person, right? We cannot be empty person, so that the spirituality is very important thing. So that there we do have some spiritual, must have some spiritual goals also, because by accumulating all this wealth and everything, there will be a time, definitely, we feel that we are not we are not satisfied, or we are not complete. Right? Something is missing. Right? So that we should not go to that level. There, it's very important for us to have in our life to have some spiritual and philosophical goals in our the life. And then another very important thing, contribution goal. Right? It is again very important, particularly in Sri Lanka, that we are actually we got this education, free education, thanks to the taxpayers, the money. Right? Right now you have come to this university, and for each of you, the government spending a significant amount of the money throughout these 4 years time period. Not only that, even your the education, the period, 13 years of education is free education. Right? They are the government. Actually, what is the government? Is the people of this the country. Right? They have contributed a lot. Right? For your education. For instance, a person, the farmer, sometimes he has not go to the school even and work hard in the field. And when he buy something, he has to pay tax. Right? Those tax will be directed to the education, health, and the other thing. Right? They have sacrificed their life, and they have collected this money to the well-being of the others. Right? So then we have it's a very important thing we have to keep in mind, that we are learning, or we are going through this education processes by uh, at the expense of these poor taxpayers. Right? So that in turn, definitely in return, we must have a commitment towards our society, towards our country, and towards the world at large. So that it's very important for you to have a contribution, the goals. How I am going to give something back to the society. The society, the country has done a lot to me, so that what is my the responsibility? Right? How I am going to pay back this thing, at least to a certain extent. It's a very important thing to have a contribution goal. And there you could see that a good person, a sensible person, must have all these goals: academic goals, personal development goals, career goals, the financial goals, relationship goals, the family goals, lifestyle goals, spiritual goals, and the contribution goals. These things are very important thing, and these things are very vital things, so that it is right time for us to think of this thing to and have a plan, right? And have a plan for these things. Right, right. Suppose that you have now you have developed your plan. And suppose that if you develop your plan, then to achieve this goal, right? For instance, your academic goal, your financial goals, and all these goals. To achieve this goal, what you need, what is needed to achieve these the goals, right? There are very three important things are needed to fulfill these goals, to achieve this goal. What are those things? Right? First thing is the knowledge, right? To achieve this goal, right? To go to this goal is very vital thing, very important thing to have a knowledge. What is this knowledge? Knowledge is the understanding, awareness, and familiarity about something. about anything. For instance, suppose that if we take the agriculture, what is the agriculture knowledge? Is your understanding about the agriculture, awareness about the agriculture, or the familiarity about the agriculture. Right? Suppose that knowledge about the computer, that is your understanding, awareness, and familiarity about the computer. Likewise, this knowledge is a very fundamental, very important thing we needed to achieve this goal. So that in school education, you accumulated knowledge. Now, even at the university, you are going to accumulate knowledge. That you are going to get the knowledge in the university education. So, knowledge is a very vital thing to achieve this goal. Knowledge, not only the knowledge, there's another very important thing, that is skills. Right? Knowledge is basically knowing the things. Skill is the making use of that knowledge, the ability. Skills are very vital thing to achieve here the goals. Skills, what are these skills? Skills are abilities and expertise that a person develop through practice, training, and experience, enabling them to perform a task. That if we are to perform a task, we need to have a skill. For instance, if I want to work in the computer, but if we take Microsoft Excel, right? Suppose that I was asked to prepare the budget using Microsoft Scale, the Excel. Then I need to have ability, right? How to open the computer, go to the Microsoft the Excel and open a document, and there I need to have this abilities and the expertise on that thing. How am I going to get this thing? Can I do this thing just by reading a book about Excel? Not of course. Right there, I have to have a practice, training, and experience. But through practice and training experience, I develop that particular skill. So in that way, skill is very important thing to achieve the goals what we discuss. The knowledge, one thing, and skill is another the thing. Right? And just by having knowledge, we can't do anything. And even having knowledge and skills, again, there's a problem. And with knowledge and skill, again, there's the problem of reaching a goal. If I tell an example, suppose that there's a person we'll assume that he's having good knowledge about business management, and he has obtained the degree in business management, right? And through that degree program, he has acquired some the skills. Right? He's know to prepare budget, to do the planning, human resource management, how to do this thing. Now he has acquired a set of skills also, right? But still, that person has not been able to start his own business. Why is that? Knowledge is there, skill is there, something is missing. What is that? That is the attitude. Right? That is the attitude. Attitude is very important thing that will determine our behavior, how we are going to perform a particular task. We may be having our knowledge, skills, but put this knowledge and skill into practice. Right? We need to have the attitude. Now, suppose that if I take an previous example, right? Actually, as a country, we are spending a lot on education. For instance, in the graduate education, undergraduate education, and there, what we really expected you is not just to be a job hunters or waiting for a job, right? We wanted you to be entrepreneurs, or in other words, job creators, right? You should go out of the university and start your own business and give some the employment opportunities to others. Why is that? It's very important. As you could remember, right? And only 10% of the people get into the university system. 90% outside there, right? So that it is your responsibility as the undergraduates to give living or give some job opportunities to the other 90%. Because they have not been privileged to come to the university and to acquire this knowledge and all these things. Right? So it's a responsibility of the graduates, not just to go after the jobs, to create the job creator. So that for that thing, this attitude is very important. Right? This attitude is very important and very unfortunate thing. What we have been seeing is that lots of graduates, after graduation, they are looking for instance, the government job, right? What's the reason? There is no risk, right? And then you don't have that much of a stress on this thing, and there will be a pension. Now it is questionable the pension scheme, but still lots of students go after this the government jobs, right? And sometimes, and even a couple of years ago, the government mm, offered a big job announcement, and lots of students, even our students, they were in a good position in private sector and receiving a good salary. They just left these organizations and joined the government, the jobs. But that is the attitude of the people. So that it's very important for us to have the correct attitudes, the positive attitudes, right? The positive attitudes only will help you to do something, to change the behavior. Right? So these three things are very vital: knowledge, skills, and attitude. So that these four things should interact in such a way so that you will be able to achieve the goals. You have to have knowledge, correct knowledge, you have to have correct skills, and you have to have correct attitudes. Then collectively, you will be able to achieve your life goal. That is the very important message. This is the very important thing I just want to mention you, that to acquire the knowledge and get the required skill and shape your attitude in such a way, then nobody can stop you, right? Sky is the limit. Nobody can stop you if you do have this thing in correct way. Right. So that in this university education, what we are going to do, actually, we are supporting you to get the knowledge, to develop your skills and shape your attitude. Right. We are there. This education program has been designed in such a way to give you the knowledge, to give you the required skills and opportunity for you to develop your attitude, to shape your attitudes, positive attitudes. Right? These things are very important, so that you have to go through this thing mindfully. That's why I name this as a plan journey. Then now I show you that uh, how you are going to get the knowledge, skills, and attitudes through these degree programs. Right? This thing, the next slide going to be very important thing for you, right? And this entire education process, for instance, in our the university, in our all degree programs, what we are trying to do is to imparting CASA. We call CASA, there is a knowledge, skills, and attitude. We are going to impart this thing on you, right? And there in this, if we take this whole education process, there we can see three the categories of activities. For instance, curricular activities, co-curricular activities, and extracurricular activities. That even actually in your education, primary school education, you have had this thing, but you don't have that much of a reflection about this thing, understanding about this thing now. But now it is high time for you to understand this thing, right? You are going to have a curricular activities, you are going to have co-curricular activities, and you are going to have a extracurricular activity. Why all these activities are there, you will understand once you go through the discussion, right? If we first take the curricular activities, that those are curricular activities are the structured education activities that are integral part of a formal academic program, right? That is basically our syllabus, right? Your lectures, the practicals, the field visits, training, research, assessment, these are your curricular activities. But these are the integral part of your academic program. You will have to attend the lecture, you have to attend the practical classes, you will get an opportunity go to field visits and training, and then research and the assessment. All these things are the curricular activities, right? Out of this curricular activities, what we are trying to give basically is the knowledge. right? Basically is the knowledge, and skill is to a certain extent, and also we try to shape your attitudes to a certain level, right? In curricular activities, main objective is to give the knowledge and to give the skill to a certain extent, right? It's very important to understand this knowledge to a great extent, skills to a certain extent, and attitude is again to a certain extent. There, I have uh, I have put different size of letters that reflect what you are going to get throughout this curricular activity. You are going to get a lot of knowledge, certain amount of skills, and some the attitudes. Right? That is the curricular activities. And then co-curricular activities. So what are these co-curricular activities? The co-curricular activities are those that uh, complement and enhance the academic curriculum. Those are related to the academic curriculum. So, all these things are a part of your academic curriculum, not the integral part, but still a part of your the academic activities, and it will support your academic activity. For instance, what are these things? For instance, academic clubs and societies. No, these are not general clubs. These are academic clubs and society. For instance, the entrepreneur club, right? That is research group, right? Conferences and workshops conducted by the departments or the faculties or the universities, and professional associations. Then career development training you are going to get in the university, right? And then leadership training, right? And these are very vital activities, co-curricular activities. So what is the role of this co-curricular activities? So what we are expecting with this co-curricular activities, it will give some knowledge, but greatly the skills, right? If you are to develop the life skill and lots of skills what we discussed, if you are to develop this skill, and it's very vital, very important for you to actively and productively engage in co-curricular activities. Right? Co-curricular activities is there you are going to get that required skills, knowledge to a certain extent, skills to a great extent, and again, these activities will help to shape your attitudes, to develop your attitudes. Right? This thing I explain this thing. Most of the cases, there we see that lots of students they just wanted to do only the curricular activities only. But they attend the lectures, practicals, and training, and that's it. They will not engage in any other the activities. Right? In that case, what happen is that they get the knowledge, but not the skills and the correct attitude. So that's very vital, very important to participate in this activity. Actually, as the university, we are organizing all these things: the academic clubs, research group, conferences, professional associations, the career development trainings, leadership training, lots of are there. So that those are the opportunities. You should go and grab these opportunities, and you should develop your skills and attitudes. And that's why I said that in university there will not be a person to push you, right, to take you to do this thing. You have to be you have to take the decision, and you have to take the initiation, and this is up to you to learn this thing, right? There it's very important for you to understand this thing and take the opportunity and capitalize this opportunity and develop your skills. And the other activities we call extracurricular activities, as that word implies extra. This is out of the curriculum, nothing to do with the curriculum. Extracurricular activities. Extracurricular activities are those pursued outside the standard academic curriculum. They are not directly linked to academic learning, but are important for overall personal development. There I mentioned that personal development, personality development, developing your identity. We discussed these things, right? So that for those things, these extracurricular activities are very important. These extracurricular activities have nothing to do with the academic activities, right? These are the other set of activities, but still these activities are very vital for you to have that personal development. What are these extracurricular activities? Actually, in our university, in times to come, will understand that they are going to do lots of activities throughout the year. Every month, there are going to be one or two activities organized by the students of different faculties, department, degree programs, and so on. Right? Those are the extracurricular activity. For instance, that may be musical event, the drama, sport event, the social activity, the volunteer activity, society and clubs. Right? There are lots of things. Those are the places where you can develop your personality, the personal development. So that it's again very important to engage in this extracurricular activity. There again, we see that only a uh, less majority get into this thing, and some are just only curricular activities. Some curricular activities plus the co-curricular activities, they will never participate in other extracurricular activities. So that through the extracurricular activities, what we are going to get is it will give some skills to you, get engaged in these activities. And very importantly, those activities are very vital to develop your right skill, to shape your, to shape your attitude, right? To work with the people and to work as a team, to appreciate the things, right? And to and lots of things, lot of attitudinal things being shaped through these extracurricular activities, right? So that now you should be able to understand that to be a well-rounded graduate, right? Well-competent graduate being demanded by the employers, it's very vital for you to go through entire process, right? And to have a very good, very delicate balance between these activities. You got to engage in curricular activities and acquire the required knowledge and skills. You get engaged in the co-curricular activities. There again, you get the knowledge and largely the skills and attitudes. And you got engaged in the extracurricular activities so that there you get skills and largely the attitude. So that in combination, you will be a very complete the person. So that it's very important to understand this thing, and actually it's a very important thing to understand and get engaged in this activity. Sometimes we get engaged in extracurricular activity without knowing anything. It's just the fun activity only, right? But still, there you have to understand that by attending these things, by organizing these things, get participating, actively get engaging in this thing, you are going to get lots of skills and the attitude. So that here my request for you is to understand this thing and do everything. Be a very well-rounded person, right? That sort of a person is demanded by the society, and actually they can make lots of the changes in the society, right? Those sort of people are uh, very much needed to the society to progress, right? And keep on this thing in mind. And again, there are some extremes, right? As I mentioned, some people are only curricular activities, and again we have seen that the other extremes also. Some people, some students are only in extracurricular activities, right? Extracurricular activities, and unfortunately, even we have encounter some situation, they have not been even to get the degree, because what they have done is all the extracurricular activities only, have not attended the lectures, have not attended the practical classes, and not passed the examinations. They do have a lot of repeats, right? And if we dig into the activity, then we find that they get engaged in extracurricular activities only. Right? That is again a very the bad thing or very unsuitable thing. So there you have to have a balance of these things, right? Curricular, co-curricular, and extra. If you do have a correct balance of these things, then this academic the journey going to be in a way it is not going to be boarded. It's going to be a very enjoyable one, right? And then I just want to go through this slide quickly. That is what the world is expecting from you. The world in the sense the employees, the society, right? What is expected from you? Actually, these are 6 important skills demanded by the society. We call 21st century skills, right? Going through this academic process, uh, if you are not be able to develop this skill, then unfortunately we have to say that you have not going through that process productively, right? So I'll quickly go through the skills, the 6 skills, and of course there are lots of uh, the materials and lots of things are available in the internet, and you can study a lot of things on these things. And 21st century skills are very vital, very important thing. These are the skills being demanded by the employers from the graduate. Right? By the time of graduation, you have to develop these skills. For instance, first thing is the critical thinking. Right? Critical thinking is that is to think something in a logical way by using your knowledge, your intuitions, your the skills and abilities. They are critically you should be able to analyze the thing, the critical thing. Right? Next one is the communication. Communication is a very vital thing. Right? Communication. It's very important to develop your communication skill. It may be a verbal communication, it may be a written communication, even your non-verbal communication. Right? And as a UW graduates, you are very fortunate, and we do have the communication skill programs. Everybody will go through this theme program so that take the maximum out of this thing, because this is one demanded skill, the communication skill. And even in the degree program, in courses, there again you will be getting a lot of opportunities to do a lot of presentations and the other reporting, report writing, assignment, through all these things. What we try to develop is your communication skills. So that take this thing very seriously. The other thing is that what world is expecting is the citizenship, right? So what is the citizenship? That in a country, uh, the citizens are the people that do have sort of a ownership to the country, love to the country, right? And we call others are the consumers, right? Citizens and the consumers. Citizens do have ownership to the country, love to the country, commitment to the country, and they need to have this country, right? They need to have this country, the citizens. If we take the consumers, what they need? They want something. For instance, they need a job to get the earning. Or they need the other services available. For instance, the food or the transport and other things. That is for our the benefit. So we are not worrying about anything. For my the consumption, if those things are available, I am not really worried about anything. But citizen is not like that. They are every time they think of the sustainability of these things, the progression of the society, right? Not our personal things. The citizenship is a very important thing. That skill is a very important. You have to think as a citizen, not just as a market player, not just as the consumer, right? And next thing is that creativity, a very vital 21st century skill demanded by the employers and by the society. That is to do something in a different way. That is a simple meaning of creativity, right? Do something in a different way, and it is most of the cases we say that's out of the box thinking, right? We are not confined to a very limited the mindset, right? We are very open, and we can do the different things in a different way. That is the creativity, right? It's very important in today's context to resolve the difficult problems in the society, right? And suppose that if I take a simple example, now, I think from 1982, we have been giving the subsidies to the people, poor people, right? Through the government. That is again the taxpayers' money, thinking that to alleviate the poverty, to reduce the poverty, right? Now, even after the 40 years, still we are giving the subsidies with different names. Earlier, it was starting as a Janasavya, now it is Aswasuma. Still, we are giving that subsidy, thinking that to alleviate the poverty. Has it happened? No. Why is that? In that approach, there is no creativity. That we are doing same thing, expecting different result. We are doing same thing, expecting different results. So there will not be result if you are doing the same thing. So that if somebody think in a different way, if somebody do have a creative idea to get rid of these people from the poverty, that is the most important thing. Right? That is the most important thing. That creativity is a very vital the skill, recognized skill in 21st century. That is the fourth one. Then the fifth one, vital, the growth mindset. Okay? Growth mindset is in a such a way there you wanted to grow. You have the mindset not to settle with the things. So every time you are challenging the status quo, right? You are not really satisfying with the things. You have a growth mind. I have to go, and you have the objectives in your life, and you have to reach these objectives, and you want to go through this career ladder, right? And that is a very important thing, growth mindset. For instance, suppose that if you take an school teacher, right? Suppose that at the age of join a school as a school teacher at the age of 25, we'll assume join as a school teacher, and after 30 years just retire as the school teacher, and they are in that person career, there we cannot see a growth. Cannot see a growth. So that it's very vital, very important to have a career path. For instance, suppose that that teacher joined as the teacher at the age of 25, and she done the required degrees, BAs and MAs, and even the examination related to the administration, principal, and then she will become a principal, and then they will join the education department, and there's a career path for that person to go through. That is the development mindset. If you do not have that development mindset, then you will be in a same position. So that the development mindset is a very important thing, important skill of 21st century. And then collaboration. It's a very vital thing. None of the thing we can do on our own, right? None of the thing we can do our own. So that there we have to collaborate with the people, we have to work with the people, and we have to network with the people, so that how effective we are in collaborating with the people, working with the people, our interpersonal skills, those things are very vital. These are very six important skills you have to develop through your this coming 4 years going to be very deterministic, because you have to develop these things, and there is no other option. And as I explained, there are plenty of opportunity is there for you to develop these skills, so that it's up to you to develop these things, and nobody is there to push you. This is your own journey, that you have to go through this thing in your journey. So that this is the thing I explained you. You have to have this career ladder. Right? Here you have one position, and after 10, 15 years, where you wanted to go. That is very vital thing. So that it will not happen haphazardly, right? If you have to plan this thing, right? Planning your career ladder is a very important thing, right? Planning your career ladder is very important thing. You will be, uh, uh, you will get the knowledge of more knowledge of how to do this thing, and you will get the training and all these things. So now here I am reminding you that it's a very vital thing. Keep in your mind that you are in a career ladder, and you have to go up in the career ladder, and you have to have a plan for this thing. Right? Nothing will happen without the plan. It's very important. And if you take this, the proverb, this is a very famous Japanese proverb. It says that fail to plan mean plan to fail. Very simple. If you are not planning, means you are planning to fail. If you are not planning, means you are planning to fail. It's a very vital thing. This is true for every aspects of our life, not only education, not only the career development. In anything, this is very true. If you not plan, the plan the repercussion or the result is failing. It's a very vital thing you have to keep in mind, right? And if you take the ULS University, right? I am pretty sure that already you have exposed to this thing. You know this thing, the vision of the university to become the center of excellence of value addition to the national. That is the vision of the university. And with you all, with all degree programs and with all the activities, what we are uh, trying to achieve is this goal. It's just like a dream to become the center of excellence of value addition to the national resource, the base. That is the vision of a university and mission of the purpose of the university, that what we are trying, even with this session, what we are trying is to produce well-rounded, employable, technocrat and entrepreneurial global citizen equipped with attitude, skills and knowledge to make an outstanding contribution to the sustainable development with a strong emphasis on value addition to the natural resource base. This is our mission. The Wellassa University with you all, this is the vision. We are driving towards this thing. Right? Why I mention here is that to achieve something, we have to have a vision and the mission. Right? In the same way, for you, for your life, now it's very vital, very important to have a vision to your life and to mission to your life. Right? It's a very, you will be learning these things, and it's, of course, these things are not really rocket science thing. And if you just go to the internet, just go to the YouTube, there are plenty of the resources available, how to develop your vision and how to develop your mission, goals and everything. So those things, we have to be mindful about these things, and we have to be sensible about this thing. And actually, these are very important. Every successful man uh, have this vision and mission in the life. So that's a very vital thing. Right. So that these are very important two aspects in our the university. Value addition. Value addition refers to the process of enhancing or improving the something to increasing its worth or the useful. By adding value, what we are trying to do to anything, that may be a physical thing, even that may be a human resource. Through this value addition, what we are trying to do is to increase its wealthness, worth of the value of this thing or usefulness of this thing. That is the very plain meaning of the value addition. And then on the entrepreneurship, one very important area we are emphasizing in our university, entrepreneurship is the process of starting and running a new business with the goal of making profit. That is a very, the plain, very basic meaning of the entrepreneurship. And you will get an opportunity to learn this thing in detail. What I want to stress here is that these are the very two important area we are emphasizing in our the university through our the curricula and other the activities. And then actually as a university, what we are trying to do is that actually we are trying to add value to you, expecting that you will add value to the national resources. As a university, what we can do is that we are adding value to you and expecting that you will add value to the national resources. That is our the expectation. Right. Now this time for you to reflect on this thing for you, for your life. Is there a vision for your life? Right? What is your vision in your life? Right? Then what is the mission of life? How you are going to realize, how you are going to actualize that the vision? What is your mission of life? And then what is your plan? What is your plan to happen these things? So that these three things are very vital. Just by having a vision, nothing will happen. Right? Just by having a mission, nothing will happen unless you have the plan. So what is your plan is very important, the thing. So now I am inviting you to think of this thing, and even at the very start, try to have this thing. Have your portfolio, right? Take a book and have a vision. And particularly when you are setting your mission, now in your mission in this 4 years time is to complete your degree with the class with the skills that I mentioned. That is the mission, right? Then what is your plan to have that skills and knowledge in this 4 years period, what you have to do, or how we are going to engage in your curricular activities, how we are going to engage in your co-curricular activities, and how we are going to engage in your extracurricular activities. So have a plan. It's a very, actually this planning is again a very funful activity, an enjoyable activity, and it's again a very vital thing, right? And another very important thing is that sometimes we do have the plan, we are not executing this thing. We are not practicing, we are not implementing. Then again, the planning is purposeless. So that I invite you to develop your portfolio, right? Have a vision, have a mission, and have the plan for this next 4 years time, right? Now, I just want to take you through the couple of slides to these sort of eye opener, very important. And there you could see some figures in this table. What are these figures, right? Uh, we'll quickly go through this thing. These figures related to average government servant salary. Right? රාජ්‍ය සේවයේ ඉන්න කෙනෙක්ගේ පැටුපේ සාමාන්‍යගේ average government servant salary is somewhere around 50,000. Right? If we take this the average government servant, right? Salary 50,000 for a year, he is going to get 600,000. Suppose that that person worked for 30 years, then 600,000 into 30, 1.8 million. What is he going to get, right? And then we assume that that person going to enjoy another 20 years of retirement. But we assume that he's going to get the same salary, annual salary 600,000 into 20, 1.2 million. That all together, that is the total earning 30 years of service plus 20 years of retirement, going to be 3 million, 30 million, sorry. 1.18 million, 20 million, and altogether 30 million, right? 18 million plus 12 million, altogether 30 million. That is the earning he is going to get. And if you look at the private sector organization, right? Private sector organization, their average salary is somewhere around 100,000, right? So that annual salary 100,000 into 12 in year is going to get 1.2 million. For 30 years of service, he is going to get 36 million. And usually they do not have the pension, but EPF, ETF, and other gratuity and other the payments, we think that he's going to get another 36 million altogether. After 50 years of service, he's going to get 72 million, right? Nearly double the earnings of the government servant. The government servant going to get 30 million, and the private sector, average private sector employee going to get 70 million, 72 million after 50 years of service. Right? Keep these figures in mind. Now, if we take the highest paid private sector employee in Sri Lanka, what is his salary? 12 million. Right? He's going to get 12 million per month. Can you imagine? Average monthly salary 12 million per month. And from 3 months, he is going to go 36 million. With 6 months, he is going to get 72 million. What are these 36 and 72? Actually, that 36 is the equal to 50 years of service of a government servant. Right? The average government servant has to work 50 years to get salary. This employee get this thing within 3 months. Right? Within 3 months. Right? And then 6 months is going to get 72 million. It is equal to the average private sector employee salary. Right? Within 6 months, he is going to get 70 million. So that think about the potential. Right? This is the highest paid private sector employee. He is going to get these things within 3 months and within 6 months. Right? You will be amazed about these things. Right? Now look at this thing. Hello? Can you hear me? Can you all hear me?
Yes, sir.
Right. Can you see the slides now? Hello?
Yes.
All right, okay. Now now we'll come to this the table, that is this about the richest businessman in Sri Lanka. Richest businessman in Sri Lanka. There you see his annual income is 1 billion. Right? Annual income is 1 billion, not Sri Lankan rupees, USD. Right? The American dollars, 1 billion. Then if we convert this into Sri Lankan rupees, it's going to be 365 billion. This is one year. And then if the billions are not really familiar to us. Even we calculate other thing in millions, so that if we convert this thing into millions, he is going to get 365 millions. 365,000 millions. 365,000 millions per year. Right? If we divide this thing by 65, we can get the per day income. The per day income, 1,000 millions. And if we calculate the per hour income, 40 million. Per minute, he's going to get 7 lakhs. Now see the potential of this businessman. Right? And he's the average government sector employee work 50 years to get 36 million. This person within 1 hour earning that amount. Within 2 hours is going to equate the earnings of 50 years by the average private sector employee. Right? So that is very amazing. So that's why we say that the entrepreneurs are very important. This entrepreneur actually not earning, he is giving lots of opportunities. So he's giving product and services to the community and generate a lot of employment. Right? So that is a very important thing for you to reflect on this thing. Am I going to work for a government sector as average government worker? Am I going to work for a private sector as average private sector employee, or I want to be a highest paid, one of the highest paid private sector employee, or else I wanted to be an entrepreneur. That if you wanted to be an entrepreneur, then your potential is immense, and we call sky is the limit. That there is no limit for your the earnings. It's a very important for you to reflect on this thing and keep this thing, keep these seeds in your the brain and let it to grow. And you have to have a good. Actually, that's why I said that you have to have a vision to your life, the mission to your life, so that this values will give you some understanding to shape up your the vision and the mission and to develop your the plans. And at the same time, that is, what do you need to do? And now you have to reflect on this thing. ඔගලන්ට දැන් හිතන්න වෙනවා මම සාමාන්‍ය රාජ්‍ය සේවකයෙක් විදිහට වැඩ කරනවද? සාමාන්‍ය ප්‍රයිවට් සෙක්ටර් එකේ කෙනෙක් විදිහට වැඩ කරනවද? එහෙම නැත්නම් ප්‍රයිවට් සෙක්ටර් එකේ වැඩි වැටුප් ලබන පුද්ගලයෙකු විදිහට වැඩ කරනවද? එහෙමත් නැත්නම් තමන්ගම ව්‍යාපාරයක් ගොඩනගාගෙන අපේ අවශ්‍යතාවයන් සපුරා ගන්නවද? අපේ නෙවෙයි රටේ අවශ්‍යතාවයන් සහ මිනිසුන්ගේ අවශ්‍යතාවයන් සපුරන පුද්ගලයෙක් බවට පත් වෙනවද? Now it is time for you to reflect on this thing and decide on this thing. And I'll quickly go through some statistics you need to know about our country. That in our country, there are about micro businesses, very small size business, 1 million, small businesses, 74,000, medium sized businesses, 11,000, and large businesses, 2,400. This is the business profile of the country. Micro business, what do you mean by micro business? These are the very small business, for instance, sweep vendors, then the beetle vendors, the roadside vendors, all these people, there are 1 million such businesses. Small businesses employ 1 to 9. Medium businesses employ 10 to 49, and large businesses more than 50 employees. So this is the profile of our business profile of the country. And the thing is that for a country to run an economy in a productive way, there should be at least 3 to 5% of entrepreneurs of the population. From the population, there should be at least 3 to 5% of entrepreneurs. If we calculate Sri Lanka, we do have the 22 million, so that there should be 700,000 entrepreneurs, or the 7 lakhs of entrepreneurs. But what we have right now is only nearly 88,000. How this 88,000 has come? Actually, these micro businesses we do not consider as entrepreneurs. Rest of the group, that is small, medium, and large business, we consider as the entrepreneurs. So that group is only 88,000. We need 700,000. We do have the 88,000. What is the balance? We need 600,000. Or we have to, in other words, we have to increase the number of entrepreneurs by 6 times. These is a very important thing you have to keep in mind. And as we all experience, we have been going through a very bad period of this country. Our main problem is not an ethnic problem, it is not a political problem, it is an economic problem. Thing is that we are not producing as much as we are consuming. We are not producing as much as we are consuming. So that we have to get loans and we have to borrow the things, because we are not producing as what we needed. To produce the things what we needed, and there we have to develop our businesses. That we have to increase our the potential in the entrepreneurship. Right? We have to 6 times we have to increase the number of entrepreneurs in this country. If so, they will really look after the economy. Actually, government cannot create the wealth. No, government cannot create money. Right? What the government could do is they can borrow the money, and somehow we have to pay this thing. Government cannot create the money. Who can create the wealth? Who can create the money is the private businesses. Right? Private business only can create the money, create the wealth. So it's a very vital thing. So this is the only solution for this country to get rid of this present crisis. Whatever the government, if they do not have a program to promote the entrepreneurship and to increase the number of entrepreneurship of this country, we will not be able to prosper this country. We will not be able to take forward this country. At least we will not be able to pay back the loans, and we will be dragging this the pattern for years and years, for decades and decades. This is the only solution for this country. Right? That is it. And then again, you have just to remind these things, right? There are about 1.7 million Samruddhi recipient of this country, equal amount of government servant, 1.7 million. Actually, it's an excess of government servants, and we are paying a lot of taxpayers' money, but we are not getting something out of from them. Private sector, 4.6 million, and altogether 8 million. This is our 80 million. This is our labor force. Out of 20, these are the total labor force of the country. Right. So that with this soul, this is what I just wanted to remind you, or to appeal from you, is that add value to yourself and add value to the national resource base. But these the course of this university. We are trying to add value to you, and we are expecting that you will add value to the national resources, and then you will be prosper. The country will be the prosper in times to come. So that take this message and reflect on this thing and plan. Don't do anything in your life without a plan. Right? This is not just only the academic journey. Anything. Do not do anything without the plan. No, fail to plan mean planning to fail. So keep that thing in your mind every time, so that this is all I just want to discuss with you in this the session. And we can just have a couple of minutes to listen to you. And if you do have anything to ask, any clarification, any comments, now we are welcome uh, to have your comments or have your feedback. If you do have anything related to things what we discuss, or if you do have anything, if you any doubt of practicing the things or the following the things that I talk to you, any unclear the area, anything you can ask, or even you can drop messages to the message box, chat box. You can put something. Right? These were the very first interactions, or you may be a bit shy of sharing the thoughts, your things, but still don't make it a habit, right? And usually what we see is that no one is asking any question, and there are two things. When there is no question, there are two things. One thing is that you have understood everything, or you have not understand anything, right? If you are in between, definitely you must have the questions, right? So that I'll wind up the session, and thank you very much for attending this session. I think that you got something out of this thing, and just go today and think back of this thing, and determining the life is your duty. Nobody is going to create a future to you. Everybody can assist you, everybody can guide you, but you are the only person who's going to determine your future. So that keep that in mind. And thank you once again. And I wish you all the best for everybody to have a very successful academic career at Wellassa University, and in times to come, particularly from the students of agriculture faculty, we'll be meeting in the lectures, and even this through this integration program, go through all these activities, collect everything, and reflect on these things, think back on these things, have your own plan. Okay, then thank you indeed, and have a nice day.